In this video I'm gonna show you how to put all of these parts of the SSG96 back together. And I'm gonna start with the cylinder first. So here we have the cylinder base, and here you have to be really careful because there is 2 pins on the inside with 2 little springs and 1 pin right here, and you have to make sure that they are in the right holes and that they don't fall inside, then you wouldn't be able to put it back together. And now we can start assembling once you have these pins in the right place. Here in the bolt handle, I'm gonna put this little pin back inside, just like that. So we have the pin inside, and I can put the bolt handle back in place. And now the back part, just be careful with it. Just wiggle it around until it clicks in place and there is no gap between the bolt handle and the base. We can put back the firing pin. Now before you put in this screw right here that holds the back of the cylinder together, make sure to put screw glue on it, because when you are racking the rifle over and over again, it can get loose, and it will get loose if you don't put screw glue there. So just 1 drop. I'm using the screw glue from the NOVRITSCH maintenance kit. You can use any middle strength screw glue, really, doesn't matter, but you should put something in there. So now we can put the rest of the parts inside. So first goes the spring guide, then the spring, and finally the piston. It will stick out a little bit, so you have to push it with the cylinder head, get it going with your fingers, and now tighten it with needle nose pliers. Just stick them in these 2 holes and do the rest. Okay, that's the complete cylinder. Now we will continue with the barrel and the hop-up chamber. Inside of the hop-up chamber we have this little brass ring. It sits right here on the inside. Just make sure it's properly aligned in there and that it sits in the hole. Okay, that's perfect. Now we can put back the hopper bucking. Just make sure that the pressure part of the hopper bucking is facing towards this cutout on the barrel. You can also check by these lines on the hopper bucking. They should be on the same side as the cut right here, just like this. This is perfect. Okay, now we have the hopper bucking on the barrel and we can slide it inside of the hop-up chamber. So again, the top of the bucking should be aligned with the top of the hop-up chamber. Here is the cutout for the hop-up arm. So we will slide it in, just like this. And we will make sure it's aligned once again through the top hole. And now we can screw back in this little centering part right here. And let's just screw it in there so that it's nice and secure. I'm gonna tighten the last part with pliers, and that's it. Perfect. Now the hop-up arm, which we have here, don't forget about the little spring. It should still be there. If you don't have it, just find it and put it there. You can start with the front part first, and then you push it in and you secure it with the pin. I'm gonna push the pin in so that it locks in place, and now the hop-up arm is where it should be. So this silver part right here, that's the insert for the hop-up chamber, which is really nice because it's made of steel and you cannot strip it, and it fits nicely in place. So I'm gonna find the hole of the spacer. That's it. I'm gonna push it a little bit more, and now I can align the hole, the middle hole right here for the magazine holder. I'm gonna make space for the screw, and now I can screw it in place. Okay, now it's there. I can put the end cap at the end of the barrel. And the barrel is complete. Now let's put the barrel and the receiver back together. Make sure this screw is still out, because otherwise if you try to force it in there, it will damage the thread on the barrel. You definitely don't want to do this. This is a long thread, so it will take a few seconds. Okay, once it doesn't want to go any further, just quarter turn back once this is aligned with these two screw holes, and now you can tighten this little screw that secures the barrel in place. So again, small Allen key. This is too small. This is the right one. And that's perfect. Now we will put back the trigger box with the two screws, Phillips head screws. So we will need a Phillips head screwdriver. Just screw it in place. Don't over tighten them. Again, you don't want to damage the threads, just a reasonable force. If you are worried about the screws getting loose, just put a little bit of screw glue in there so that they will stay, but just don't use too much force on the screwdriver. Okay, we have this part. Then we need the connector, the stock connector with the barrel. This connects, the barrel with the stock itself so that it's not wobbling, and that increases the accuracy as well. This goes into this slot right here. So just make sure it is like this. We will take the stock, and also this spring guide stopper goes from the bottom of the trigger box. Just click it in place, and now you can connect the two parts together. Just like this, make sure everything is aligned, wiggle it around until it clicks in place. Turn it around, and we can first start with the stock connector. Just tighten it down, take a little bit, tighten it slightly more, but again, don't overdo it. And now the long Allen key. You can tighten the back screw or the middle screw first, doesn't really matter. Again, don't overdo it. If you tighten it with this short end, that's more than enough. You don't need to, use this end and like crank it. That would be too much. This is completely enough. Okay, now it's back together. I'm gonna put this back in so that it's a little more comfortable to work with. And now we have the recoil pad, which goes in like this. And again, the same Allen key, and tighten these two screws. Okay, recoil pad is done. And now the last thing that is missing is the cylinder. So we can slide it in place. Here, it won't go in because you need to pull the trigger first. So be aware of that. Slide it in. Secure it with the spring guide stopper in place. And now the cheek rest can go back in. And we will tighten it down with the Allen key. Last but not least, we put back the scope. And you are ready for a game. Now, just to be extra sure, let's check how well it seals. Just like it should.